Hey, this is Kent with Zamplo, and in today's video, I'm very excited to be showcasing a new feature that we're releasing called the Customizable Pricing Tool. This feature is going to be included at the basic level subscriptions and higher. And just before we dive into it, the pricing tool is created because we believe that automation only gets you so far. And what I mean by that is when you are coming up with a value in your land investing journey, and maybe even going back a little bit further, there's two reasons really why you are looking for the value of parcels in land investing. And that is when you're pricing a region for your offer letters, and also when you're doing due diligence before buying a specific parcel. So again, like I said, our belief is that automation only gets you so far. And so we wanted to combine human insight with that, and that's why we've created this tool. So I'm going to show you how it happens. I'm going to show you a few different use cases of how to use this tool. And by the end of this, if you're not on a basic plan and you are interested in getting this added into your account, give me a call, send me an email, and we can chat. So the pricing tool, one area to access it is going to be this tab or this bar at the top. So you can go to the pricing tool, and then you can be looking for a specific spot. So you can search kind of generically by a county or a city or an area that you want to be. You can even use coordinates. In this case, I'm going to enter in a APN. And when you enter in an APN here, you're going to have to hit the search for APN button and then enter the county that that APN is in. So if I know that's in Kern County, I'm going to enter that in. It's going to automatically zoom into that area of where that parcel is. So it highlights it with this greenhouse in this case. So first thing to note is you can pick the radius for where you want it to pull comps from. I can say maybe 2.5 miles around that particular parcel. We can also have for sale. Now, the reason why we have for sale here and it's not just sold is because, of course, there are certain states that are non-disclosure states where you can't see the sold price always. So using the sell data for sell data is still an option in there for those scenarios. But in this case, in California, we do have the sold price, of course, so we're going to leave that. Now the sources, currently we have 3. We are actively looking to add more beyond this, but we have the county, the realtor, and Zillow. And so you can pick what sources you want. Maybe we don't want the county in this case. We'll just focus on Realtor and Zillow because there's actually links to the sites there. And then you have the date range that you can select as well. So when we hit load listings, it's then going to pull some comps that are around that area, and it plots it on this power series equation right here at the top. So this chart on one side has the price per acre, and then on the bottom, it has the acreage size. And so with these different dots that are highlighted with the like light blue or teal color that goes around the blue, those are the ones that are currently selected. And the idea behind this is that you can go and you can sort through, maybe what was the newest and actually click into these links and decide if that is one that you really do want to include as a apples for apples comparison to that parcel that you are doing your due diligence on. So the thing is, when we hover over this as well, in the bottom right, I want you to focus right here on the map. It will highlight which parcel that is on the map. So you can see kind of a vicinity wise of where it is. And you might go, you know what, that's a little bit too far away from where my parcel is. There looks to be enough parcels that I can select or choose from in the general vicinity. So I'm going to uncheck that. Now, the other thing that you'll maybe not know at first glance is this bar right here on the map. You're going to have the APN of your parcel, the acreage size, but you're also going to see an estimate that changes in real time as you highlight or remove different parcels. So this area in particular, reason I've chosen it is Highline Road is a very important road in this area because that's where the utility and the power and electricity is and ends, essentially. So things below here don't necessarily have electricity at every parcel. They're very much houses that have solar. But in this general vicinity up at the top here, you have this other area that's a lot closer to amenities and a lot more established with houses and smaller lots. And so, those are probably not comps that we want to have included in our formula. So we can come in here and you can see right here that makes sense. That's the smallest acreage size right there, and also the highest price per acre. So there's two ways to remove it. You can remove it on the left-hand side over here in the actual list, but you can also just click right there and remove it that way as well. I'll highlight this one as well, and I'll go, okay, that's also above Highline Road, so I want to get rid of that one also. And so I remove that. And then if you wanted to go through any in detail, again, you can come through here and click on any of these. And you might go, okay, that one's, close enough to where mine is. You can look into the added details about it right here to see if anything jumps out that would, remove it from being a like parcel. And so if you wanted to include it, you just make sure it's checked off. So you can essentially pick and choose whatever ones you want. This one right here, for example, it's a 40-acre parcel, so that's probably why it wasn't included in the first place. So we'll uncheck it. But then you're going to get your estimate of what that parcel is valued at. And that's just a good way to kind of do due diligence on a specific parcel before finalizing a purchase. Now, the other use case is if we were coming and wanting to price that entire area. So let's just search on the map here. And so we're going to the same area in Kern County, Tehachapi, and I'm going to use our polygon tool to draw a shape around where we want to mail. So I'm going to say this area right here. So again, the more focused you can be on a specific area or subdivision where the parcels are somewhat alike, the more powerful this customizable pricing tool is going to be. So when we go to export parcels, you're going to get a count of how many parcels are within that shape. You can then apply one of your queries, which is essentially your buy box of what you're looking for. And then when you go to continue, you're going to come to this page where you can add other filters, but it's already filled out because we've used the query. I'm going to go to export data. And then at this page, before you actually export, you'll have a customized pricing button. So when you select that, it's going to take you to this page that we were at initially. Sorry, I just had to refresh that for a moment. And now it's kind of pinned the general area of where that polygon was. So again, you can play with the radius. You can select what you want. You can, factor in whatever things that you want to filter by and then load those listings. And then now your pricing isn't for one specific parcel. Your pricing is going to be using this trend line for many of those parcels, those 90 parcels in this case that fit within that polygon and within your buy box. So again, knowing that this one right here is outside of kind of what you want, this is right by houses, there's electricity here, that's not a good apples for apples comparison with the area that we're mailing to. So we are going to go ahead and uncheck that, and then we're also going to get rid of this one. And we're going to stay with things even right around here. And, I might say, okay, I'm going to get rid of the things that are, not super close. And, do what you want, essentially, what you feel, because that's the power of this tool. It's what you believe by looking into these parcels. And when you're doing due diligence, you're going to know how far out it really makes sense to go. So then you can apply that pricing to your export. And what that's going to do is that trend line now is, if you have something that's 2.1 acres, it's going to multiply at that rate for what the value of that parcel is. If you have something at 2.7, it's going to be down here at 9.9 or basically 10K per acre at that rate. So that's how that tool works. And then when you actually export it, I already exported a list right here to kind of show you, but it's going to create this column called custom value, and that is the full kind of retail value, if you will. Now, if you wanted to offer, 30% on the dollar, you could add another column right here and then say, okay, equals, this column times 0.3, come up with that, autofill the rest, and then that is your offer amount for your letters. So that's the other use case of using this particular tool. It's coming in and applying it to a list as opposed to looking at one specific parcel. The last thing I do want to point out is that if you are on the map, if we return to HP and go right here, and somebody calls in, you want to do a quick kind of comp or pricing of that parcel, you can be on our map, and on the right hand pane you can access the pricing tool right there. So when you select it, it's automatically going to redirect you to this pricing tool page with that area already filled out. So there's that house, and then again you can go through and you can customize this as you see fit. And then once you've actually done it from the map and you apply that pricing to the parcel, it is going to save that price that you came up with. So if you go to your parcel report, you're going to be able to see that right here. You could send this page to somebody else on your team or a VA, and they're going to be able to see the same thing that you did, or they can go in and edit configuration and also take a further look at this. So this is a way to kind of keep track of areas that you are taking a look into, and it will save your history of what you've dictated the pricing should be directly within Zamplo. So again, this is a really powerful tool. This is just the beginning of this tool. We're scratching the surface with what we believe it can do. We're going to keep you updated and informed with the different releases and things that we add. But in the meantime, if you're not already a basic user, give me a call if you're interested, and I can talk through this with you in a little bit more detail and see if it makes sense for you and your business.